All right, welcome back to the Real EQ podcast. I'm your host, Ethan Quant, and today's guest is someone who's been instrumental in shaping the sound and scale of live production here in the Bahamas. Antoyne Hinsey is the president and managing director of the Soundcrate Group Limited, where he leads with vision to elevate the standard of events and productions across the region. With nearly 3 decades of experience as a musician, producer, and live production expert, he's worked behind the scenes with global artists like John Legend, Bruno Mars, and Sting, bringing world-class experiences to life. From teaching himself the piano at the tender age of 7 to leading major productions today, his journey is rooted in passion, precision, and purpose. Let's dive in. Antoyne Hinsey.
Yes, sir.
But I know you long time, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, I remember you from COB days. Mm-hmm. And then I'd kind of lose you off the radar. And then the next day, or not the next day, but then all of a sudden you pop up and it's this juggernaut, this global force reshaping how productions are done and business is done in the Bahamas called Soundcrate. Bro. We can get into that. But I like to start each episode with asking my guests, how do you define success?
How do I define success? I define success by, the legacy that you leave after you've left this earth. What impact have you made on your country? What impact have you made on the world? For me, it's just ensuring that when you're getting to your success, I find that success is a lot easier to achieve when you're doing something that's passion-driven. You want to feel like it's never work. You can never, ever feel like the second it feels like it's work, you need to find another career. I tell persons all the time, you want to find a career that feels like, hey, it's so much fun, I just like showing up. And that's how come we're able to separate the falcons or the eagles from the chickens, within the first 30 days of Soundcrate, because you can see those who are coming in and they're clocking in, they're forgetting to clock in because they're working 15, 18-hour days, 7 days a week, and no one goes, wait, I need a work-life balance, or wait, I didn't take a day off this week, because, the mantra is bleed blue, and no matter what, we have to get the job done. And so, every individual has to find success, and they find it by being passion-driven and ensuring that, hey, look, I'm ensuring that I'm leaving a legacy when I leave this earth one day.
I love that. And so the follow-up to that question then, Antoyne, is, by that definition, are you successful?
I feel that I am very successful so far on my journey. There's lots more to come. But definitely what has happened so far has been nothing shy of a miracle, God-driven success.
Now, I hear that, right? And I mean, one could say, okay, well, I believe in miracles. I do believe in faith. I believe in all these things. But even the good book is say faith without work is dead, right? And what I am interested in, well, even before we get into that, because I want to set the stage, I want people to understand what we're talking about, right? And so give us some insight, for those who may not be familiar, give us some insight into exactly what is it that you do and what is Soundcrate.
Okay. So Soundcrate, we are a production house. What we do is we produce some of the premier concerts that happens on your day-to-day basis, the Burna Boy, the Sting, the Boys II Men. But most of what's happening day-to-day that people don't say that's behind the scene are the corporate events that we're working for, which are the Fortune 500 companies, the AT&Ts, the CNN. These are the major billion-dollar brands that we're actually working within the hotel, and we're managing all of their corporate events. So we're doing 3 and 4 translation booths simultaneously while having 3 other rooms that's running simultaneously with all live cameras, broadcast, audio recording, live production, lighting, you name it. There's so many intricate facets that we're part of. And for SoundCrate, getting into something so insane, like I said, is nothing shy of a miracle. I can't write a book and say, this is how you can go about doing this. I can't. It was literally a once in a lifetime opportunity. And we were just in the right place at the right time. And, prayer just worked its way out. I say for SoundCrate, for me, the work was spreadsheets. And my partners, they would laugh or make jokes, when I'm putting my projections together. Hey, don't be a spreadsheet millionaire. Every single number that I put on that spreadsheet, we have already surpassed. I would sit down while I was working at Hans Barker. I'm just going through numbers. I was always a numbers guy. I had the music as a background. I played in Visage at night. I played in church every Sunday. So I still had that passion going. But, there was no job and no field there where I was able to, put food on the table. And so I said, hey, look, I'm just going to keep doing the bank thing. And I was able to learn a lot about business while being in the bank. Anthony Ferguson was extremely instrumental in that. I mean, he is a business tycoon here in the Bahamas and globally. And I watched the way that he would approach building new businesses, building new brands. And he had a financial company, a small subsidiary that he built while being at CFAL. And I was able to work with that small subsidiary and watch what it was to, put documentation together to build a company from start to finish. And so that's what got my brain ticking as I'm looking through RFPs and I'm finding loopholes in contracts. Okay, this is how I want to build or structure a business. And so during lunch, friends and I, some colleagues from CFAL and Hans Barker, just working through spreadsheets. And that's what I was doing for fun, just working on spreadsheets all day. And, that just developed into, hey, how can I now take my passion of music and put it into business? Fast forward, some friends of mine, George Thomas and Virginia Chan, we know them. They had this group, GVS, and this was during the soca scene. And so, they would have all of these soca parties and the connects that they had from Trinidad who would come into the Bahamas to do suits. And he said, hey, everyone calls me Jinx. Hey, Jinx, you into music? And we looking to throw this party. You know anyone who has some speakers we could just rent? I said, not a problem. I'll get it done for you. So contact a friend of mine. And he had the gear, but he was never in the corporate field. So, he's doing more of the local scene of what's happening, which is fine. But now I'm like, look, here's a corporate area now where you're able to get in a whole different arena. Hey, bro, I don't want to get into all that. You take the speakers, you create an invoice, you do the stuff, and then you just direct them. No problem. So I became the face of doing it for this one party, and the party blew up so big. I started getting little jobs here and there in Lightfoot Key, Old Fort Bay. I'm talking 2-3 QSC speakers, nothing major. And so it went from that to, okay, I don't own equipment. All I'm doing is literally just taking your gear, I'm cleaning it up, I'm putting on a jacket, and I'm just rebranding it differently. That's all I'm doing. And so it went from that opportunity to, okay, guys, maybe we could step this thing up a bit. Okay? For them, bro, I mean, really, if you need us to help you work this stuff, is whatever you want to do. I'm like, okay, you know what? Talk to my cousin about it. Look, this is what I want to do, and I think there's an opportunity in the market. So he said, okay, fine, let's look into it. So I started building spreadsheets based on a production company. Watch it, right? And so now we're putting all these things together. And, I'll never forget, I just finished my CFP, and I took a vacation, went to a wedding that was in Italy. I'm there on this wedding, and came back, and they shut the division down at the bank. I had an opportunity to either take a payout, leave, and another offer that was on the table for another bank, or just stick it out, take another position in a different division. So my wife was like, why don't you just try the music thing? I'm like, oh, no. Try it. You've been doing it on the side. If you do it full time, you may find it's something you like, and it will replace what you were doing at the bank. I'm like, all right, took a leap on it. No problem. If it doesn't work out, I just got my CFP, I could always just jump right back in another institution. So I did it, spoke to my cousin, got another partner involved, and I'm like, hey, look, this is what I want to turn this thing into. Bought the equipment. 2 weeks later, went to pick up the equipment. The next day, the country shut down.
Wow.
COVID. Literally. At this point, before I got the equipment, like I said, I was doing a few things for those soca every now and again. Not even a concert. Suits, backyard party. I did a Johnny Scandalera's wedding. I did another wedding that was at Life for Keep. That was it. Nothing major. So now, make the investment, market goes. And so now I had to pivot and find something else to do. I just gave it the bank, which would have had me secured during COVID. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now? So, just taking odd jobs here. I was doing some sales with Things Simple at the time, and anything I could do just to pass the time until the market's back. And every week, I would email Graham Davis. Like, it was just like, this is like the real estate skills coming in now, right? I'm just like hitting him. Sir, if there's any opportunity, a birthday party, or an outdoor event, we love an opportunity just to get a couple of little speakers put on the sticks and go up. Message it. Now we get into 2021, right? Nothing yet. Graham finally comes back, hey, yeah, we'll let you know if anything comes up. No problem. We were in constant contact because our group, side note, we actually were part of the travel visa group. That's not what this podcast is about. Skip that, okay?
Right.
And so we were always in contact because of that. And so anything we message, hey, what about the, any opportunity? So one day he came back and said, listen, I have an opportunity for you guys. We're getting ready to open up the hotel, and we're going to open it up with an event called Taste of SLS, featuring John Legend. I said, okay, is there a pre-party you want us to set up speakers for outside? Or no, it's the full concert. We want you to bid for the concert. You don't have anything smaller, take it or leave it. Okay, no problem. We'll do it. All right, hung up. My partner said to me, we could do this. I'm like, we never did it before. We'll figure it out. And so now it was just taking your resources, my dad at Odyssey and, Aaron and his involvement in aviation, exclusive aviation. And so we were able to get our own planes. We procured the equipment, rented it from Orlando, got a truck down to Miami, got everything from Miami into a plane. Then we were able to get the grand piano, which is the last piano that John Legend played on, onto a plane, get everything loaded up, flew it in here, cleared customs, set everything up on stage. John Legend never came down to sound check, but because I was able to teach myself piano, I sound checked for John Legend. This is as random as it gets. Sound check for him, tuned the piano, we're all good, did the show, killed it, gear back in Orlando in 4.5 days. We've never done any events other than 2 weddings, 2 soca parties, and our 5th event is John Legend. And so to hit such a high mark so early on, I mean, we're in COVID, 2020 doesn't count. So year 1, our first event is John Legend. When you start that high, you can only go higher. And I'm someone who is known as being they tease me as a dream seller from high school. But I'm like, you could call me a dream seller all you want. I'm going to prove you wrong because every dream that I sell, I'm going to accomplish it.
Right.
And so I said, John Legend, I told him, I'm like, we're going to keep going bigger. After we did John Legend, we had Bruno Mars. After Bruno Mars, we had Boyz II Men. After Boyz II Men, we did Sting. After Sting, after Sting and Shaggy, we did Rod Stewart, we did Burna Boy. Listen, it goes on. It happens so quickly, you can't keep up with it. Lenny Kravitz, the blessings has been beyond. It's nothing that I could put into proper words.
Right.
I can't retell the story the same because it's always elevating, it's always growing. As you were talking about the bio, I'm like, that bio is from 2 years ago. It's been so much more accomplishments since that. I told my team from the jump, we're not going to be the same. We want to break the wheel. We want to be different. We don't want to get caught up in the black crab syndrome of, persons who don't want to pass on the baton to the younger generation. So instead of being aggressive and taking the baton, what I decided to do was go across the street, buy my own property, build my own track, and I run my own race. I don't need your baton. And so while everyone's competing here, not only do we go and take the biggest contract that existed in hotel history here in the Bahamas, we then went on and did the biggest conference here, which was a Frexham in 2024, blew them away. They're doing 11 conferences around the world per year. They said that the one-day experience in the Bahamas was so professional that they want that production team to travel with them anytime they're in the Caribbean. And it wasn't just talks, because in 2025, we did Grenada. I just got back 3 weeks ago from site visiting St. Kitts. I have St. Kitts. And then I've already signed my contract for 2027. I just can't release who the next country is. But it's rolling. We're beyond borders, and we're proving that you don't have to have a foreign passport to produce something that's world-class.
All right. See, okay. I know if y'all follow that, right? But I need y'all to rewind that and watch that whole thing again, right? Because there's so much in there. Now, I heard you say, once in a lifetime opportunity, miracles, this, that, and that, right? And I hear that. Antoine, I hear that. But I challenge that, because I would say that you were preparing for that opportunity from you taught yourself at 7 to play the piano. And you know that because you touched back on that when you were talking about John Legend and that. And I want people to understand, right, that really when you talk about, and then you say, okay, well, this once in a lifetime opportunity, right? It was a miracle. But you had been following up the ground for a year and a half. Right?
Yeah.
Now you did say something, and I want you to because I think I may have missed, when the opportunity came to either stay with the bank in another position, get the payout, or go somewhere else. Who was that in your ear that said maybe
My wife.
your wife? Okay, y'all hear this, right? All y'all here. I can look in all the camera. I can look in yours too.
Yeah.
Listen, when I tell people you have to be so careful, especially fellas. Lord, I hope Chris, if you think they can cancel me, leave this in, because I don't care. Fellas, you have to be so careful who you share your life with, right? Because sometimes, and I know it wasn't even that you didn't think that you could do it, but just hearing your woman say, hey, I think you should try this thing.
Yeah.
Women don't understand often the responsibility that they have to shape their own life with a man that they call their husband.
100.
And so I'm so glad. And I thought that's what it was, but I wanted to touch back on that, because a different woman could have not seen that.
Right.
Not seeing that, don't say nothing, and then go. Another woman could have seen it and still not say nothing.
Right.
Because, if this does work and he gets he can get this and da-da-da-da.
Right.
And so I love that so much that you said that. And I mean, I share that same thing. My wife is always whisper good stuff in my ear. A lot of times she's just let me do what I got to do. Just let me, because I think she understands the assignment. But, when I say I hear that story, and it's so inspiring, but it's so inspiring for so many different levels. But like I watch you, and I am proud, and I am inspired at the same time, because what you have been able to do, a lot of people, one, they wouldn't know what to do with the opportunity.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Now, you talked about something, saying that you were a dream seller, right? Or that's what they used to call you. I want to talk about the importance of actually thinking, like coming up with, or having the audacity to think that this is a thing, or could be a thing. Talk to us a little bit about that, because I think that plays a big part in where you end up. Because if you can't even imagine it, if you can't see it in your mind, there's no way that you can make it real.
Not at all.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
So, I mean, I do believe, I'm not going to say that, that I'm not going to confess or profess that I have an illness, but I do believe that there is a hint of ADHD that's there. And So I often, with days off, even if I'm in class, and I can think of a song, right? And I'm like, okay, wait, I think that melody would go good together. And I'm thinking about the song over and over in my head. And then during the break, I would go into the auditorium, grab the piano, and I'm starting to play that same song out. During my tenure in high school, I wrote the first song for our school choir that we recorded an album when I was in the 8th grade. I wrote the graduation song for the class of '04 when I was in the 9th grade, '05 in the 10th grade, '06 when I was in the 12th grade for my year, then did it again for the class of 2008. So I've been producing and writing songs, and these are all things that I can just mentally days off and think of. Same thing when it comes to the dreams. I can force myself to sit here and dream of an idea that I want. I can dream of myself or imagine myself in a Ferrari in full details, driving down Cable Beach tomorrow. Like, that's how vivid my thoughts are. And so when it came to the vision for Soundcrate, it really came down to, okay, here's how you put these pieces together. Walk into the hotel, and I'm like, I can feel myself being here. When I say dream seller is this, like, I went and I got investors to sign on to something that I didn't have on paper. I said I'm going to secure that Bahamas contract. We had nothing. There's nothing in writing. There's no RFP that's being posted, and everyone knows that Encore is a trillion-dollar entity that's backed by BlackRock. They have every single Grand Hyatt globally secured. So there's no way a company is going to come and move them up. We just happen to have a government that believes in Bahamians so much that they don't care about that anomaly. And so when that government kicked them out, when I say the right place at the right time, because we developed that relationship with Graham Davis and Barmar to say, hey, if you need something major and amazing that's on island, we can produce the John Legend. We can produce the Bruno Mars. We can produce the Boyz II Men. We developed that comfort that when the government kicked Encore out, who were they going to choose? Wait, the guys who've been doing those 2 or 3 events that we need every now and again. That's what I mean by once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That doesn't happen often. And I got calls from Miami from companies asking me to come in and try to compete for RFPs in Miami to try and remove Encore. And I'm trying to explain to them, I didn't really remove Encore. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And we were able to now use our resources and the planning and the vision to make that transition as seamless as possible.
I like that. As you're talking, like, I don't know if you read Outliers. Like,
Of course.
But like, that's what you is. You are definitely an outlier. And I say that because, dude, all right, so you have the musician, right? Which is a art.
Yes.
Then you have the numbers, which is a science.
Yeah.
They typically don't go together.
No.
Right?
No.
The fact that you're an artist who knows science, that's why you're able to do the things that you could do, right? And any one of those, you could attain a certain level of success,
Yes.
right? The fact that you have the combination, I feel, is what leads to the exponential rate of that success. Because you could approach it with your left brain and your right brain.
Yeah.
Right? And so I love that for you, bro.
I'm telling you, I'm talking, you have a loan, you have massive injection, you buy equipment. This would have been in 2022. $2 million in equipment. Okay. It's time to find a way to make this money back, but we can only make the monthly payments if we have this contract. That was August 2022. We going through it month by month. So the Bahamas 50th kicked in, right? Okay, so I'm going at everyone, please get some jobs here. So making the land speed so we could try and put things together. At this point, we have three full-time employees, so nothing major. We were able to push that number to 17 because now I'm spending some of that same investment funds to now keep operating going, right? And so we're going through it. And anytime I'm feeling like I'm about to lose my mind, that's why it's so important us like really, really strong partners. And, they all have their other businesses. And so anytime I need to lean on, I'm like, hey, this is crazy. Hey, bro, don't worry about it. This is normal. This is something. Okay, cool. But we're going through it. And I'm like, guys, this money is about to run out soon. I know what we're going to do. This is August 2022. Pushing through. I'll never forget when we thought, okay, things were getting shaky. Maybe we'll have an opportunity to get in the hotel. Then, nope, they re-signed in 2023, January 2023. I'm like, I don't know what to go back and tell the shareholders now because they already invested, but it is what it is now. I'm like, guys, I'm not giving up on it. I'm telling you, we got this. Let's just keep pushing it. Opportunities coming. So we in there just shaking, and we doing little things for SLS, and where we'd have a the little DJ that was set up in Monkey Bar.
Right.
Yeah, we started doing that, and then the stuff they had up in Sky Bar. So we're getting that stuff going. Because don't forget, you're still coming out of COVID. And it wasn't until August 2022 is when the injection came in. August 7th, got the first call about it. Hey, if we needed to pivot from the group we have right now, would SoundCrate be interested in being the NL's AV? I'm like, what? I'm like, absolutely, sir. We'd be, okay, and so you have the equipment? Yep. You have the people, right? Yes, sir. We ready? Okay, so just want to, yes, sir. You can count on me. Any documents you need? I got them. I've been doing spreadsheets for years. I'm ready for this, right?
Spreadsheet
and so
daddy.
I'm telling you, ready to go. So during all this planning, remember I told you it's 17 employees. Because the industry is so small, we know everyone. All of us been working together from Fam Fest and working with Uncle Juice and, with Jimmy and, with Mr. G from Zaymar. We all know each other, okay? And so it was like, okay, guys, let's go. I'm making calls. You already joined the Dream Team? This is what we're doing. And so I started grabbing everyone, every single audio engineer, every lighting engineer, the best of the best in the field. Call your number. Let's go. Call your number. Let's go. And we went from 17 to 61 employees. And September 15th, contract start. We in the hotel, boy.
Boy, that's something, this is alignment. Because my birthday is September 15th.
Wow.
That would have been a good present for me. Like, real talk. But
yeah.
But it's interesting, boy, because, see, boy, like, you unpack it. You spitting a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I don't want them to miss. Because, being able to have the confidence and the audacity, I think is a better word, the audacity to say, yeah, we can, is one thing.
Yeah.
But it speaks to your character as a man that, yeah, you could have had them numbers with all the people in the industry, but they call you, they see your number pop up in their phone, they say, I ain't why this dude calling me, man. I ain't,
right.
Because you could have been that guy, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that you called, they answered, you spoke, they move, that also speaks to you as the character of the man, right? And people think that you can just go through life, treat people any kind of way, do dirty, and you could still get ahead.
Right.
And I tell people, yeah, you may get ahead in the short term, but if you was a grimy dude, right? Who didn't treat people right, who was, shady and underhanded and this, that, and next, even if that to come to you as it did, you still wouldn't have been able to pull that off, right? And so, like, I want people to understand, so when I say that, think about the importance of just the relationship, right? Being able to have these people to call and being somebody that they can trust enough to say, let me move, right? Because no matter how good it look, there's a great opportunity, but I don't trust him. So I ain't moving. Right? And so I think, I don't want people to miss that aspect Twan, that really is the character of the man, right? And I get it. You know, you don't want to sit down here and say, "Well, I did all of this," right? However, and this is another Malcolm Gladwell book, right? So I love Outliers, but in Tipping Point, right? He talks about the 3 people that you need to tip, and I think this is a textbook example of that, because you need the maven, you need the salesman, and then you need the maven, the salesman. What's the third one? Connector. You need the connector, right? And he said at any one of those points you could have, you need all 3 of those for that to tip.
Right.
However, there are, and like I say, there's this anomaly, right? There's the outlier that you have some people who possess all of these skills. And I really believe, just listening to you, you're a connector, you're a maven because you have the information. So the maven is the one who has the information. The connector, of course, is the one who could connect people with the relationships and stuff like that. They're the networker. And then you have the salesman, who is the persuader of people. And this is textbook. The man here has all 3 of those. And not only can you deploy either one based on what you need, but you can deploy them simultaneously to achieve it, right? Because essentially with a deal like that, got to mobilize from 17 to 61, you got to be able to do all those things, right?
Absolutely.
And so, guys, I dropped 2 things. Get those 2 books, Outliers and Tipping Point. I got them right on the shelf there. They are from Malcolm Gladwell. You all read them to understand what we talking about, or what we sharing here. All right, so you got that, right? I mean, I want, because like I said, I'm inspired. I watch you and I see you move, but I want you to kind of share, I want you to share now, what were the times, right, throughout this process when, because you kind of said, people here, okay, I was following up a ground for a year and a half. But what does that look like? How do you consistently hear no? How do you consistently not get the desired results, but show up anyway? Like, let's talk about the I like Madagascar, the stick-to-itness. Because I think a lot of people think that this thing is like that. Because, like, at any point, you could have turned around. You could have just say, "Baby, I hear you, but I can take the safe road." But you went. You could have, mother said, throw your hands up and cry because COVID came out. You made the investment in the place. So what do you draw, and how do you continue to move, by?
So, I mean, it really comes down to relationships, right? I mean, it was a key point you made. That's something that my dad stuck in me from a very, very early age. My dad, he's been around Odyssey Aviation, my entire life. And so you're managing and serving high net individuals every day. And so no matter what's going on, you always have a smile. No matter how rough the day is, you must always go above and beyond to extend that service. And so I've always been about connecting and networking and putting on a suit that I got from H&M for $70, but giving or displaying a $2,000 Armani suit attitude, right? And so I'm at the Life for Key Club and I'm playing golf and I have $375 on my bank account. But I'm here playing with millionaires and, with persons who are so far ahead in life that it gives you that confidence that even though you're saying no, to me, I'm only hearing not yet. Okay? And so for every no, it was a not yet. For every time there's like the doors close, I'm like, there's another route, there's another avenue. And so as long as I kept that positive outlook, I never gave up on it. And anytime there was a moment of me giving up on it, that's why it's so important to share the liability, share that load with partners. I was able to call on one of my partners. Hey, if I'm not able to get him, I have another one I could lean on. I'm like, hey, so what's your thoughts here? What made us successful is our resources and our networks. My father always said, no matter what, son, you may not be the smartest in the room, you may not be the wealthiest in the room, but always be the most resourceful. I don't care what room I sat in. I sat in a room with billionaires, and they do not have more resources than I do. Not when I'm in my country. It ain't never gonna happen. I know someone for anything, and I'm that individual where even if Graham, for example, he can call me for anything. Oh, someone left a bag, and I need to get something here for one of my clients. Not a problem. I was able to get a jet, scramble a jet. Jet goes over, pick the bag up, bring the bag back, and get that client back to where he needed to go in 3 hours. That's the resources. There's no work permit. There's no school tuition. There's someone for everything. And it just goes based on what you would have said earlier, ensuring that you have the right character, that you develop those relationships that you can call on persons 2, 3, 5, 8 years from now. And at some point you made such an impact on their lives that, hey, no problem, bro. I got you covered. What you need. There's always a call for something. And so once you're the most resourceful person in the room, that's far more valuable than wealth. Because resource outlasts money all day long.
What one of our core values is? Now, mind you, they could rattle off the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I just did that. Thank you very much, Chris. I just did that because I share those sentiments. Like I believe that it ain't about the money, it's about the resources.
Yes.
Like your resourcefulness. How resourceful are you?
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a couple of times, right? You said two big things that I think a lot of value could be added to our audience, right? You said partners, and then you said shareholders, right? I mean, this is a real business. So you got partners and shareholders. Yeah. Let's talk a bit about how do you go about, or how did you go about, what was your process in your developing these partnerships, right? I have had, I value relationships but I was always one of them people in school. I used to struggle with group projects because I used to end up doing all the work, and you ain't want to do it. And I feel like even though as adults, sometimes that's the case as well, right? What was your process of going through selecting, for lack of a better term, your partners? Like, how did you make the decision? Because you know what you're good for, right? How did you go about making the decision that these are the people that I want to partner with? And then also, because I'm a firm believer, not all money is good money.
Right.
I don't look at just being able to take investments or from every and anybody. I made that mistake before. And so, talk to me about, I don't necessarily want to say your vetting process, but what was your process? How did you know, or what was the process that you went to for you to know that, all right, this is the partner? Or did you go into it saying, oh, well, if they screw me, they screw me?
No. So, I mean, the way that it worked is, first, it definitely comes with trust, right? And so, Aaron is my cousin, grew up with from birth. And, for him, he's always had a very, very, very reputable character in the family. Someone who's very, very strong-willed, very, very, very disciplined. And, so we're brothers. We're brothers' kids. And so we always grew up with that attitude. And so I could trust Aaron with my life. And long story short, anything that he's in, I feel comfortable in. And so it doesn't matter who we're building any businesses with, as long as I had him as my rock and my foundation, I'm not second guessing anything. So anything that we're doing with expanding the group, it was ensuring that we found persons not just persons who we could trust, but the first thing was resources. Everyone brings a different resource to the group. That's what makes the group extremely valuable, because you want to bring all of those strengths, and that's why we consider ourselves to be a Bahamian Justice League, if you'd say, because there's no facet in business that we can't develop and build together. That's without giving too many secrets of the amount of things that we have our hands in, right? And so, when you're looking for building on your group, you want to ensure that resources is first and foremost, because you never want to get in a relationship where, like you said, you feel like you're doing all the work. I think, the problem isn't when, groups come together and everyone's stepping on each other's toes trying to do the same thing. The problem is they're not working as a group. So I'll give you an example. I was wrapping up my last program for college, and we had a group, and this group that we had was for the entire year. Okay? So you're in one group for the entire year. However, we had different courses or different projects that the one group had to do. And you had these courses that were spread out across the year, all lab work. So let's say, for example, this is all music. So you had Logic project. You had stuff that was on the O2R, which is a different console. You had something else that was on the Neve, another on the SSL. So you have analog, you have digital. Okay, good. I'm good at digital. Okay, you're good at analog. So all of our analog projects, you do all for all of us. All of the digital, I did all for all of us. All on Logic, okay, he's going to do all for all of us. Everything is on Reason, I'm going to build all for all of us. Everything on Pro Tools. So what we did was everyone identified their strengths from the jump. And it's very important to have a partnership agreement when you're in a business where, it needs to be defined. Once you have that trust, everyone understands exactly what their roles are, and that's defined and outlined from the jump. And so that's what we had. Just like those group projects in college, we have outlined what our partnership agreement is. So that means this group is only going to be this group as long as you're doing all the analog. I'm never doing that. You do all the digital. I'm never doing that. You do all the... And so everyone knows their roles and knows their parts from the jump. Once that's already been established, no one's going to now step on top of each other. So now egos aren't getting in the way. There are no feelings getting in the way, because we're doing what we set out to do from the jump. And so it is very, very important to establish that. That's what the biggest issue is. People get into business because, let's just take our money and pool our money together. You brought money, I brought money, so we're equal. No, that's not what it is. Some people brought money. Some people bought sweat equity. Some people bought their contacts book. Yeah. The resources are all different, but they're all geared towards one goal.
Oh man, I love that. I feel a tingly sensation in my stomach. But when I say that you inspire me, that's what I mean. And I see you, and I've told you this. Like I anytime I see you, I have a genuine joy, because as far as I'm concerned, if you could do it, I could do it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so I don't look at it as with mother sick Chad, why he, they all the way over there. But if you could do it, there's hope for me. And yes. I had the same conversation with another one of my buddies, Ellie Hepburn from Elnet, right?
Yeah.
Me and Ellie used to go to school together.
Wow.
And when I say we used to walk from the bus stop together.
Wow.
Like I remember him.
Wow.
And then but what I used to do is I used to be like, hold on, I doing something wrong here, because everybody I know for a long time, but not everybody, but like these fellas I know for a long time really doing the thing.
Yep.
But and you touched on it, I realized that it's timing, right?
Yes.
And timing does play a part in a lot of the successes. But a big part of that timing isn't necessarily timing on what's going on around you.
Right.
It's your timing. You have to be ready.
Yeah.
Like, and I talk about, we say we're ready, but you have to be ready for the success.
Yes.
Right? And I think that's something that a lot of people don't, they say, oh no, I'm ready. But no, you ain't ready.
No.
You have to do some stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Internal work, right. You gotta put in the reps. You can't just pick up today and say, "Let me go run on marathon."
Nope.
Or do no. You gotta build. You gotta put in the reps. You gotta know oneself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's so much inner work that needs to get done.
Right.
But like I said, when I look at you, I be like, "But like, if he could do it, and not you ain't like if you could do it, but like if he could do it,
Yeah.
I know I could do it too. I just need to stay
Yeah.
my path, right? Because my
Absolutely.
path, my journey is my journey, right? And so, you know, I appreciate that. Let me ask you this: if you were to sum up, and I trying to see how I could articulate this. If you were to say, if you want to be successful, right? If you want to build something that lasts beyond you, what is the one skill, regardless of what it is that you are doing, that one should learn, and dare I say master, or that is a key determining factor of success, regardless of what it is? What is that one thing? And I could appreciate that, you know, it's a combination of things. People
Yeah.
say, oh, you know, it
Yeah.
ain't just that one thing. But if we was to take everything and say, Antoine, we can leave you with this one thing, this one thing for you to rebuild or build bigger, what would that one thing be that you would want us to leave you with?
Okay. The art of patience.
The art of patience. All right, I wasn't expecting that. Let's
Yeah.
unpack that.
So patience can break or make a man. If I wasn't patient, I would have taken the no and walked away with the no. If I wasn't patient, I would have said, hey, I'm not trying to build nothing out. Let me just take the money and run with it and just go into what I already know. Let's keep the bank going. If I wasn't patient, I would react before thinking. Reacting before thinking is what has our prisons full right now. One of my biggest, weakest points, and I'll put it on the table now, has been my patience or my temper. And growing up, being able to control and understand that when you act out of emotions, 9 times out of 10, you're making a mistake. You can act out of emotions and you can win a game of checkers all the time. But you can never make an emotional play in chess and win. You're never going to be successful. Chess is based on patience. You can't make the right move if you're not patient. You know, I always take the this saying that we hear over and over, God bless you with 2 ears and 1 mouth. It's better for me to listen more than I'm speaking, because if I'm listening more than I'm speaking, 9 times out of 10, you're giving me enough information for me to beat you. And I will always win any battle I'm in as long as I'm practicing the art of patience. Let's go to Battle of the Bastards. How did Jon Snow win? Patience. It was last minute. It was patience. Patience. Sansa Stark came in. Patience. Timing. If you're not patient, time is not going to work out for you.
That's a vibe. I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that. But I that does raise a question. Lord, I wanted this to be the I mean not one. I wanted this to be the final thought. But see, you spark something now, because I have an appreciation for what you mean when you say the art of patience. At least I think I have, right? I want you to explain to me when you say patience, right? Just to make sure, because I'm a firm believer in order for us to have a productive conversation and discussion, we need to make sure that we define the thing as a thing and that there's alignment there. So when you say patience, what do you define patience as?
So I define patience as having that endurance, having that discipline, right? You can't act quick. You can't act quick. usually I find that my first answer isn't usually the right one. That's for me. It may not be the same for everyone.
Right.
There are different outliers all around. But for me, my first answer, my first thought usually isn't the right one, especially if I'm upset. Think about it. When
Yeah.
you're upset, it's not going to be the first one.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's the make or break for me. I had to find a way to really understand what patience meant, understood how to control that. And I promise you, I still haven't mastered it.
Right.
I'm working on that every day because in this business, you are tested your patience every single day. We average 19 events a day. Think about how much clients that is that we do in a week, in a month, in a year. You go crazy doing this and then start all over again and all over again and all over again. Patience is everything. Patience is key. You have to learn to swallow, take a breath, listen, then react. But you can't react right away. That's what I mean by patience. You stop. Just pause. The simplest definition for patience is pause. The art of the pause.
I like that. See, because I think a lot of people, when they have patience, they think wait, right? Or they think don't act, right? But that isn't what it is.
Nope.
Like you said, it's pause. It's think before you act.
Exactly.
It's act strategically.
Huh.
It ain't, or patience, I just waiting. You waiting doing what?
No.
What you waiting for? No, I love that. All right, so guys, I tell you, I ain't gonna lie. This for me, this podcast really cute. I have people on here who, like I told you guys before, I actually admire, I respect, but that I could learn from. And this conversation with Antoyne was nothing short of incredible. Always a joy when I see my brothers doing some great things. Very aspirational, very inspirational. And some key takeaways from this conversation was, one, well, patience, which was the most recent one, but then the importance of relationship, the importance of character, the importance of dreaming, like the importance of being able to dream, the importance of having the right people in your ear. The importance of having the right people in your network, the importance of resourcefulness. There's so much. Guys, I really want y'all to watch this again. Take notes. Watch it first time just straight through, but watch it again, take notes, and then be sure to share it with somebody who you feel that this can add value to. Antoyne, I appreciate your time, bro.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, brother.
I always
Pleasure.
enjoy having to sit down with you. I can say one thing, I got a couple millionaires in my phone who, if I call, they ain't gonna answer. This millionaire, I know if I call, he can answer.
Always, brother. Always,
So
always,
I
always.
appreciate that. And to you guys out there, remember, get uncomfortable and do the work because the world needs your greatness. Peace.